Good evening. This is Maestro Critello with the Dawn of War 2 Retribution Elite Modcast. Today we have a 2v2 on Medean Cliff Mines. Our first player right here is Floid, playing as the Ravener Alpha. We can't even take a look at him because he's using his ability to make tunnels, gives him mobility. He's about to pop out right here. Mainly fights in range to start out. His teammate is Dark Riku, playing as the Space Marine Apothecary. A relatively weak Space Marine, but he heals Tactical Marines and Assault Marines. That's usually a pretty powerful combination considering how tanky those units already are, even without being healed. Their opponents, first off, we have DJ Raffa as this black and yellow Force Commander. The Force Commander is a tanky melee hero. He gets in melee, he has a lot of counters to different things, whether it's melee, vehicles, with upgrades, can teleport and such, can also buff with Battle Cry. Really good hero. And finally, we have Fear. Haven't been able to get a good look at him as this yet another Ravener Alpha. Okay. So, we have actually a mirror match in both lanes. We have two Tyranid players and two Space Marine players. Basically one Space Marine player and one Tyranid player per team, and the players playing the same races are actually against each other. So Floid is against Fear, and Dark Riku is against DJ Raffa. Of course, team games are not just about who you're in a lane against. There's a lot of team play going on. Right now we see some Spore Mines from Fear going around. They're probably going to get one blast off, and they do actually suppress those Tactical Marines. And I think I was about to say these Tactical Marines are about to be pincered, but they're actually being supported by Floyd's Termagants back here, while Fear's Termagants are over here. Now, so far, neither Tyranid players have their Toxin Sacks upgrades. We would expect to see that relatively soon. In my opinion, it is a no-brainer upgrade, increases the damage of the Termagants by 45%, and also gives them the Crippling Poison ability. Will be particularly useful for keeping both the Force Commander as well as the Apothecary at bay when they try to get in melee range, since the Crippling Poison ability will snare them, and there will be as many as 2 Termagants squads that will be able to do that. Let's see. So far, neither Tyranid player has decided to upgrade their Termagants yet. You know, these Termagants right here getting flanked by DJ Raffa's Tactical Marines. Tactical Marines will certainly beat Termagants to start out, especially when they don't have their Toxin Sacks. They will just do more damage, tank a lot more damage, and just bleed a lot of models without actually taking losses. Now, this range fight right here, I was about to say this would favor the blue team, but the Force Commander is coming into support, chases off the Tactical Marines, chases off Dark Riku's Tactical Marines, which would be the main source of damage right there. Right now we have Dark Riku and his scouts coming out of the Ravener Alpha's tunnel. What heresy is this? And Dark Riku goes for quick assault Space Marines. He apparently likes to do that, and they jump on top of those Termagants. The Termagants now have their Toxin Sacks, and they actually use them on the Assault Marines, but the Assault Marines, regardless, definitely hard counter those Termagants. Force Commander gets dangerously close to dying, but he does not. Warrior Brood now out for Fear, so Floyd still very much has his opening build, just the 2 Termagants, as well as those starting Hormagaunts. Dark Riku has an Assault Marine squad out. DJ Raffa still with no 3rd unit. Surprised not to see that. Let's see. Ooh. So Dark Riku tried to jump in his Assault Marines, maybe see if he could get the wipe on those Hormagaunts, but they do get out of there. So a lot of stuff going on. One thing I didn't notice, but we see is that the power farm over here has been decapped. So that's the blue team's power farm decapped. So they're now getting a power income only of plus 39, while the red team has a power income of plus 62. Ooh, these Assault Marines in a lot of trouble. One model dies. Let's see. Whose units are those? Can Fear's units? I was going to say, could they finish off that last Assault Space Marine? But they do not. He actually has a lot of health there. So I think the chance of that Assault Space Marine squad getting wiped was actually pretty low. But Dark Riku just took a lot of bleed from that. Losing 2 models. I believe that's 83 requisition per model, as well as I think 8 power. If Dark Riku starts reinforcing, yes. Oh no, 75 requisition and 8 power. That's still a lot of requisition to reinforce. So Dark Riku is moving up, but he is getting flanked by Termagants as well as the Ravener Alpha. So this is a lot of ranged DPS coming out. I think the Tactical Marines will probably not lose a mono there, but they certainly came very close, and Dark Riku is now off the field. One of his scout squads is fully upgraded. He actually, Fear actually tries to force melee with his Termagants, even though Termagants are not good in melee, but he did that because melee damage does an extra 30% damage in retreat, while ranged weapons do much less damage in retreat. I believe it's something like range damage reduction of like 80%. So now it's Floyd over here. He has his whole army right over here. He's going to get a full Gen Bash as well as the decap and even the cap off on DJ Raffa's power farm. He actually stops the cap. Oh, he stopped the cap because he did not want. He actually did not want to keep the generator. He wanted to make sure that power generator was destroyed, so that even when DJ Raffa gets back the power farm, he'll have to pay for every single one of those generators he gets back. Now, DJ Raffa rushed to Tier 2. I don't know if that was a great decision. He rushed to Tier 2, only bought a Scout Squad and Attack Squad. As a consequence for that, he was not able to defend against Floyd, and Floyd was able to get a full Gen Farm wipe. Now, on the upside of that, he does have a very early Plasma Cannon Devastator out, while literally none of the other players are even in Tier 2. They're only getting to Tier 2. And he now has a Dreadnought on the way yet again, while none of the other players are even in Tier 2. Plasma Cannon Devastator, certainly going to be very good. It's, I mean, the Plasma Cannon Devastator, I have to say, is probably one of the best area of effect weapons or units in the entire game. Just the effect of one of those shots hitting a Termagant Brood or a Hormigant Brood is going to be absolutely devastating, and that squad will probably have to retreat even after getting hit once. So over here, Fear is pushing in again. Might wipe this Apothecary. I think that Apothecary will go down. No? There he goes. Alright, so Dark Riku loses his Apothecary, although it's not really as big of a deal to lose your Apothecary as much as, well, just about any other hero. Since you can use Laraman's Blessing, it does cost red, but that is a lot more convenient than spending 250 Requisition. It also allows you to revive your hero even when he's in a place where your opponent cannot get to, or I mean your teammate cannot get to revive. Scouts getting dangerously low on health. They might get wiped here. Scouts, I think they will actually get wiped. 20 health. Oh, so Dark Riku loses his Scouts and his Apothecary. Now he's definitely in a little bit of trouble. Floyd is reviving, at least reviving his Apothecary, but losing that Scout is definitely a fairly sad loss. Meanwhile, Fear is taking a lot of losses as well. Looks like he lost a Termagant Brood, and certainly lost the models on his Hormigants and Termagants. But now that Dread is out already, smashing things with the Emperor's Fist. So that Dreadnought, wow! And these Hormigants gonna go down for Floyd. Floyd just kind of walking them into that Dreadnought. I guess not quite paying attention. Now we have Tactical Marines getting disrupted, taking a lot of losses because they got disrupted by these Raveners. So it's actually a significant VP lead for the red team, 438 to 291. So I guess, so far at least, that rush to Tier 2 actually did work out pretty well for DJ Raffa. I was a little curious because he ended up losing an entire power farm because of it. But they've got the VP lead. He's using the advantage of his Dreadnought to push forward. Dark Riku has taken quite a few losses in his lane against Fear. And Fear, now out with some Gene Stealers, has a Venom Brood as well as an Adrenal Gland Warrior Brood. Now, the Gene Stealers are a pretty incredible unit. They're basically like Banshees, but with like even higher melee damage and even faster speed, so they're really, really good. Over here, Termagants are unnecessarily just walking straight up to the Dreadnought. I mean, certainly the Termagants can't threaten the Dreadnought, but they should not just walk right into the Dreadnought and take an Emperor's Fist. I think the Force Commander will go down here. Overextends it just a little bit. 10 health. Might actually be lucky to get that Force Commander out of there unless these Warrior Brutes can leap in one more time. Force Commander gets out of there. Wow, was not. I actually thought he was going down here. So let's see. We obviously have this big AV threat from DJ Raffa. Very expensive unit, and he did that. He was able to get that by really buying almost nothing in Tier 1. His Force Commander is a little kitted out now with the Artificer Armor and the Power Fist. That Power Fist is a pretty safe buy overall, as well as being very, very good just in case your opponent has a vehicle. Very good against both infantry and vehicles. The Thunder Hammer is a little bit better for controlling globs of infantry, but the Power Fist is better for bleeding individual models. Alright, big red team blob in here. I'd be scared of this Tyranid blob. Now, what I was trying to say about those Gene Stealers, they're already really good. Possibly roughly as good as Banshees. Of course, they are in Tier 2. But one of the things that also makes them extremely crazy is when you have them paired up with the Warriors, the Adrenal Gland Warriors. Now, the Warriors by themselves are not that great. They actually have relatively low damage for a dedicated melee unit, but the Synapse they provide gives a health buff to the Gene Stealers, and that just really puts them over the top, doing like the damage and having the speed of Banshees while being a heck of a lot tougher. We've now seen Infestation Towers, multiple of them going down for, this is Floid. Those will be giving his units buffs. So it's now a pretty significant VP lead for the red team, 438 to 211, while also about to be a triple cap for the red team. Looks like the blue team has also been losing power generators over here. I think Dark Riku has especially been struggling. It does certainly have some pretty strong units out on the field. Now with these Stern Guard veterans, going to be doing a lot of damage to the Gene Stealers with their Hellfire Bolt, which they are using right now. It does very well against infantry. And we also have this Devastator here to control all these Tyranids, but the Tyranids are going to get in, I think. So that's one of the interesting things about Devastator. Wow, and now we have a flank from the Dreadnought. I did not even see DJ Raffa's Dreadnought in there. This one's now getting an Assault Cannon to make it extremely good in range. Will be good with both the Assault Cannon barrage and the Area of Effect ability, as well as just the DPS it puts out, as well as it has more range than most ranged weapons. Ooh. Big plasma cannon shot, hits Floyd's units. Floyd trying to do a Gen Bash over here so that he can counteract the Gen Bash that both DJ Raffa and Fear are doing over here. So one full generator farm wipe. I think Floyd will also do it over here. Floyd has a fully kitted out Ravener Alpha Acid Splatter, improves the Ravener's melee attacks, gives them power melee splash damage. Wow, I did not know that. That's actually pretty good. So that really allows the Ravener Alpha to be both a melee hero and a ranged hero. Although I don't think he can actually use ranged weapons when he has Acid Splatter. Unfortunately, I don't play Tyranids that much. He also has this Reinforced Chitin, as well as Strength and Sinew, making the Ravener Alpha incredibly fast. So that Dreadnought is coming back to defend against all these Tyranids. He uses the Assault Cannon barrage there. And I think he mainly used that to save his Stern Guard veterans. They came very close to dying. And I think if the Warrior Brood and the Raveners hadn't been disrupted, that would have been a dead Stern Guard veteran squad. Otherwise, the Assault Cannon barrage would be much better used against the Termagants. So that Devastator's set up, covering a pretty big arc. And now the Mastercrafted Bolter from Dark Riku, disrupting and comes very close to killing that Ravener Alpha. Now, one of the great things is that Ravener Alpha, I think, was trying to get around the Devastator firing arc, and now pretty much all of Fear's units are actually right in the Devastator firing arc. Now, Fear, unlike Floyd, does not have a Ravener squad, so he can't just use, he doesn't have the ability to just jump this Devastator Marine squad and then allow the rest of his army to get in. So he's really at the mercy of that Devastator, getting most of his units suppressed, unless he actually splits them up in flanks. It is a bit of a habit of Tyranid players to just blob up their units and attack all at once, and there is definitely something that works about that, particularly with the Synapses. Of course, the Synapse play it contributes to blobbing. since we'll take a look at Fear's army. Fear does have the adrenal glands, so he's going to want to pair that with the Gene Stealers, since they will get buffs by being together, while the Venom Brood does have the range synapse, which will buff the Termagants. So quite an engagement going on right here. Assault Marines from Riku losing models, getting close to dying. So this Devastator squad is actually doing extremely well for Riku. He's had some very good firing arcs. The only problem is that Fear, in order to counter those Devastators, he actually buys Rippers from base. Those base Rippers, they do not get suppressed, so they are able to just basically go straight up to the Devastator, right under Devastator fire, tie it up, and that will prevent the Devastator from doing anything. And that actually allows the rest of the Tyranid army to just walk right in. So as we saw, DJ Raffa now has Assault Terminators. This elite Tier 3 infantry from Space Marines exclusive to the Force Commander has 5,400 hit points, or 1,800 per model with the Thunderhammers. That actually acts as yet another Devastator counter. Takes out one model. Does not actually wipe the squad, though. So it looks like DJ Raffa and Fear have a bit of an advantage. They've had a VP lead for pretty much the whole game, and right now they still have it, although it's actually a 2-cap for Floid and Riku, and it's starting to go a bit in their favor. Devastators, Assault Terminators definitely still have to be a little bit of careful. They're starting to lose some health. We now have an Orbital Bombardment. Who will get caught in that Orbital Bombardment? Not too many units. Terminators actually get caught in. Most of the other units do not. So that must have been an Orbital Bombardment. I don't even know. Must have been from Dark Riku, since DJ Raffa used his red to get the Terminators. And it's some crazy stuff going on, but it actually looks like that wasn't that great of an orbital. Gene Stealers actually come very close to dying, down to their last model. Now have Rending Claws, so they will do heavy melee damage. And I actually think these Assault Terminators, they do activate their teleport. I was going to say they might lose a model there, but they do get out of there with all 3 members. So Fear definitely bleeding a lot, but at the same time, he also seems to have a strong enough army that it's not going to matter. He's got plenty of units and plenty of resources. Now a double cap for DJ Raffa and Fear. That's certainly going to be a little troublesome, considering, at least troublesome for Floyd and Dark Riku, considering DJ Raffa and Fear are already in the lead. Now these Assault Terminators definitely overstaying their welcome. Now, normally Assault Terminators would be a very good answer to a Carnifex, but not when they're already at about 1/3 of their health. Oh, we had quite a sync kill there. Just the way he, like, psychically pulled that Terminator in. Looked pretty funny. Now a Terminator Force Commander from DJ Raffa. Now the Terminator Force Commander, much like a regular Terminator, he is immune to suppression. So he was able to just walk right up to that Devastator squad, has heavy infantry armor and 2,500 hit points. 25,000 would be pretty overpowered. Now, DJ Raffa does give up the Power Fist that he had, as well as the Artificer armor, so some of those resource costs were sunk. But the Terminator Force Commander can certainly be useful in his own ways. If he gets the Heavy Flamer on that Force Commander, he will be very good at leading some of the models off of some of Floyd's squads, especially his remaining Termagant brood. I knew we were going to have an Assault Cannon Barrage right there. All of Floyd's units bunched up. That Assault Cannon Barrage actually was not that impressive that time, but, I mean, it still disrupted all those units. The Termagant brood from Floyd is going to have to go very soon. Predator now out from Dark Riku. Dark Riku, I can tell from his playing, definitely likes the Predator. I've seen him use it a lot. He seems to also even, like, he seems to even prefer getting it, like, over Terminators. One of the things he said, I think he said as a very long time ago, was that use your red for Angels of Death and Laraman's Blessing when you play the Apothecary, and if you don't have the red to get Terminators, just get a Predator or a Land Raider. He especially seems to swear by this Predator. He usually does not get the las cannon, at least to start out, unless he actually has to deal with an actual vehicle. He keeps it with the regular autocannon. That saves you some resources. While I don't know necessarily if the default autocannon is actually better against infantry. I know some people have actually been saying, especially on my channel lately, they've been saying like, oh, why did he get the las cannon when his opponent didn't get any vehicles? And I generally don't look at it like the las cannon for the Predator is specifically a vehicle counter. I have definitely seen the las cannon on the Predator hit infantry and do really nasty things to them. Of course, it's supposed to at least be that the regular autocannon has better splash, so it should be better against like bunched up infantry, like termagants, hormagaunts. Definitely a big engagement about to happen. Riku is getting that las cannon now because it looks like Fear has a Carnifex. Huge engagement about to happen. So many red team units coming in. Las cannon shots on that Carnifex, as well as on this Dreadnought. But the Assault Terminators teleport in to scare off the las cannon, save DJ Raffa's Dreadnought. And the Predator does have to move out of there. That Predator, one of the other uses of that Predator, when you have the las cannon, it certainly will definitely hit Terminators very reliably. I actually think it's one of the best answers that Space Marines, if you're playing a Space Marine mirror, a las cannon Predator I think is a very good answer to Terminators. It's one of the best damage options you can get, as well as being mobile and being very good against many other different types of targets. So it's now going to be yet another. It's going to be, right now it's a 1-to-1 cap. It looks like it's going to be a 2-cap again in favor of DJ Raffa and Fear. Floid and Dark Riku certainly not out of it. Dark Riku recovered pretty well from his early losses. Now has both First Company veteran squads, the Vanguards, as well as the Stern Guards. And I think this will be a dead Dreadnought from DJ Raffa with this las cannon Predator right here. If only the las cannon Predator would actually target the Dreadnought instead of targeting other random things. And Dark Riku did have to back off with his Predator because he was getting flanked by Gene Stealers. And, I mean, Floid and Dark Riku definitely still in this game, even though VPs are running out. Floid with 2 Carnifexes. One may be close to dying, though, with all sorts of heavy melee squads in there. Does not want to leave this Venom Cannon Carnifex isolated without any kind of a charge. Floid even uses Raveners to disrupt a brood that his own Raveners could not possibly hope to fight, but disrupt them to save the rest of his units. They are in a little bit of trouble right now. More disruption happening. I can't even tell from what. Double Carnifexes, though. The Thornback charges in again aggressively. Maybe Floyd just at the point where he knows there aren't that many VPs left, has to just take the risks. Terminator Force Commander actually getting very close to dying. Now that Terminator Force Commander can retreat. It's one of the things I wanted to illustrate. So middle VP about to change hands back in favor of the blue team. But it looks like DJ Raffa getting a decap on this side one over here. Currently a no-cap game, while Dark Riku uses his Stern Guards to get a cap on this North VP. So it's getting to that point late in the game where players are scrambling for VPs. The DJ Raffa and Fear scrambling because they know they can win it. Floyd and Dark Riku scrambling because they know they will lose if they do not scramble. DJ Raffa and Fear obviously have more room to breathe. They don't have to take as many risks. Las Cannon Devastator goes down for Dark Riku. That's going to make it a lot harder to take out DJ Raffa's Dreadnought, as well as Fear's Carnifex. Did he lose it? Alright, so Floyd definitely lost a few units. Not even sure which ones. He does not have any of his starting squads. He does not have the Termagants or the Hormagaunts. He does have 2 of his Carnifexes, though. He can't afford to get another. He does not have the pop to get another one. This Acid Splatter. Actually turning the Ravener Alpha into a melee hero with that. Wow, I mean, we just saw like the chunk out of the health that came from there from that power melee splash damage. And certainly with that Strengthened Sinew, I think that's going to pair well with the Acid Splatter, since the Acid Splatter is a melee weapon, and the Strengthened Sinew is going to make the Ravener Alpha very fast. Look at how fast he's going. Can't even tell now because he stopped moving. But, I mean, he was moving very quickly. Now, double cap for Dark Riku and Floyd. equal-sized armies. Fear and DJ Raffa have to make a move. They do have some time. They can afford to maybe Fear can get another unit out on the field. I don't know if that'll help. Ooh. These Stern Guard veterans from Dark Riku incredibly overwhelmed. Lose one model, might lose another one. This Predator taking shots, probably doesn't see that Dreadnought, but this is a level 3 Dreadnought with Dark Age of Technology, has 1752 health. That's one tough Dreadnought. Now, Dreadnoughts are great, although sometimes it's actually hard to get them to stay alive in Tier 3 when you start getting pretty hard counters for them, like Predators and other tanks. We have a Force Commander Terminator right here. It does have that Heavy Flamer, but Floyd has actually lost most of his units that will actually be vulnerable to this Heavy Flamer. So now, DJ Raffa loses his Force Commander. If he does get him back up, he'll probably want to switch to either the Lightning Claws or the Assault Cannon to make his Force Commander a little more useful, at least with ranged combat. More of an engagement going down right here. The Thornback Carnifex, a Tyrannoformation. This must be from Floyd, disrupting a bunch of units. Now that Tyrannoformation, unfortunately not the greatest, definitely not the greatest nuke for actually killing things, but it certainly causes a lot of disruption and confusion. Right now it's allowing Floyd and Dark Riku to push forward a bit and just do crazy stuff. Assault Marines get in trouble. Riku loses his Apothecary. He can afford to use Laraman's Blessing, but he might be saving his red for an orbital bombardment or Terminators of his own. And yes, Dark Riku is calling in Terminators right here. And he will be able to, he should be able to kill some of these units, maybe kill the Gene Stealers. If he can force melee on the Gene Stealers now, shoot them, shoot the Gene Stealers, does take out the Gene Stealers. So good play by Dark Riku, taking out the Gene Stealers. Fear losing a ton of stuff and immediately replacing his Gene Stealers. I don't agree with that. I think at this point in the game, he has enough resources for at least a Carnifex, if not a Swarm Lord. He should do that. DJ Raffa now going to lose his level 3 Dark Age of Technology Dreadnought. That would be really sad. And it actually looks like Floyd and Dark Riku might take this game after Dark Riku had a rough early start. They were down in VPs for pretty much the whole game. In fact, they have still, up to this point, have not been in the lead in VPs. At least I think so. Pretty sure they haven't, and yet it looks like they might even win the game right here. Termagants are holding against Stern Guard veterans. Stern Guard veterans, even with 2 models, I think will beat the Termagants, but here comes the Ravener Alpha. This is Fear's Ravener Alpha. Has a similar build. Well, he's got he's got a completely different build. Damage Synapse to make every Tyranid unit in range of the Ravener Alpha stronger, that regenerate to allow him to regenerate, and Crippling Talon. Reduces speed and damage of units that get hit. So Floyd and Dark Riku now have a lead. Fear is getting trying to get the decap on this contested VP, but it's now still a 2 cap for Floyd and Dark Riku. Looks like they will take it. And they do. Unbelievable. They were down for, at least as far as I can remember, the whole game. Certainly, if not the whole game, then most of the game. Dark Riku struggled. DJ Raffa had some strong early pushes. Well, not early pushes. He actually got pushed against because he went for rush to Tier 2. But when he rushed to Tier 2, they pushed and definitely gained a bit of an advantage there. But Floyd and Dark Riku take it in the end. I'm not even sure how. Just a lot of crazy engagements, and it was hard to even tell exactly what happened, what better choices they made. So, or maybe it's just my brain not up for the analysis today. In either case, I hope you enjoyed the cast. Have a good night.